Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
Carlos, are you aware that on December 13th, the Chief Medical Officer of Health restrict in-house dining for public restaurants?
I'm totally aware with it, not agree with it.
You're aware of that? So that's a copy of the order, and if you have people dining...
I have this printed already in there.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So we are here to advise you that under Section 73 of the Public Health Act, which you are violating, is an offense and can be subjected to fine. So we do advise you that you close the dining section.
Okay. That's a good advice. I'll consider it. Okay. But at the moment, I don't agree with Dr. Henshaw. I think she threw a blanket to all small businesses. So they're nonsensical restrictions to me. And I got my human rights. I got lawyers. So I think we're ready for that fight. Well, it's, enough is enough. The government's not listening to us. They're not giving us hard data, stating that, that we are the cause of the peaks going up. And they're not listening to us. So we all united and said, okay, today will be the day to open.
Sheila Gunn Reid here for Rebel News in beautiful downtown Bashaw, Alberta. And I'm here because yet another Central Alberta restaurant has decided to defy Jason Kenney and Chief Medical Officer of Health Dina Hinshaw's mandated closure of all Alberta restaurants to dine-in services. Now, that closure order came down in the middle of December. And since then, Alberta pubs, restaurants, diners, and cafes have been waiting and waiting and waiting to see an end to that shutdown. And some of them are running out of patience. Now, one of those restaurants that is short on patience and long on bravery is the Noble Fox, just behind me on Main Street, Bashaw. It's a small mom and pop Mexican restaurant. And today, Wednesday, January 27th, is the first time in about 6 weeks that the Noble Fox will seat customers in their dining room. Now, for those of you who have been following along, I've been just up the road in Mirror, Alberta at the Whistle Stop Cafe, covering Chris Scott and his staff and their customers as they make a stand for freedom. They've opened their doors 7 days ago to the open arms of their community. Now, Chris Scott has faced repeated visits from the RCMP and Alberta Health Services. And on Tuesday, just before the lunch rush, Scott received a summons to appear in Stettler Provincial Court to answer for his defiance of the orders of the Chief Medical Officer of Health. But compared to the crackdown that we saw in Toronto when Adamson Barbecue reopened, despite the near constant surveillance and that summons to appear in court, all things considered, it's been a pretty hands-off approach by officials, relatively speaking. The Whistle Stop owner and customers were all threatened with fines. The staff were threatened too, but none of those fines have been levied yet. So I'm curious, will the cops show up as the enforcement arm of Alberta Health Services and the Chief Medical Officer of Health today at the Noble Fox? Will the police ticket the owners? Will they ticket the staff? Will they ticket the customers? Will summons be issued? I believe that no taco is illegal, and it's time to free the tequila. They open in about an hour. Let's go check it out. So I'm here with the owner of the Noble Fox, Carlos. Carlos, what has the shutdown on dine-in services done to your business?
Well, it's pretty much killed it. We can't make ends, we can't make a living. We can't, bills are piling up, and it's been bad on our mental health. I thought I had a good mental strength, and I'm starting to see that everyone's weak and I'm weak. It's starting to get to me, actually.
I don't think you're weak, because today you're making a stand. You're doing something that could bring the full force of the government down on you. And yet you're doing it anyways. You're reopening the Noble Fox, which is beautiful and feels really authentic. It doesn't feel like it's wearing a costume of Mexico. It feels like Mexico in here, and it is really cold outside, and it's It's great. But you are reopening your doors. Why did you make that decision?
Well, it's, enough is enough. The government's not listening to us. They're not giving us hard data, stating that, that we are the cause of the peaks going up, and they're not listening to us. So we all united and said, okay, today will be the day to open, and maybe that way they'll hear us.
Now, what has been the reception from the community? Because for the last 4 days, I've been up the road in Mirror with Chris Scott at the Whistle Stop, and the community is out in full force. I've seen some of the social media chatter, and it looks like you are going to have a very busy day here today.
Yeah, it's unreal. Our post had about 40,000 views. And, 90%, 98% of the people are supporting us. And obviously, you're going to get the other 2% that are against us, right? But again, it's the community knows, they know us. We're not trying to spread the COVID. We're not saying there's no COVID. But from the start, I said, the government screwed up. They did it the wrong way. They were supposed to protect the vulnerable, but they just threw a blanket to everyone, and it's affecting us. They don't care about our mental health. They don't care about our livelihood.
Yeah. And you told me off camera you have 5 kids to support.
Yeah, we need staff.
That's smart. That's very wise. Now, I noticed around the restaurant you do have masks for people who want to wear them, and you have hand sanitizer. So you are going to do your best and follow the rules that were in place before, right?
Well, for sure. Like I said, I followed the rules to the T from the beginning. But enough's enough. I just don't see these restrictions being sensible. They're nonsensical.
Now, I detect a bit of an accent. I don't think you're from Bashaw. So why did you choose Bashaw? Of all the places in Canada that you could choose to live, you chose little tiny picturesque Bashaw. Why?
We've been coming here for the past 5 years to our seasonal campground, and people just tell us, open. There's nothing like what you have here. It's just open up, and we tried it, and the people are great in this town. They're awesome. Like, everyone knows each other. It's they even go by, takes a tribe to raise a kid. Mm-hmm. It's here, and I don't know if I should be saying it because it's our little gold gem here. We don't want it to be overpopulated, but yeah, it is. It is the best town to live in central Alberta.
I really truly believe that these central Alberta towns and central Alberta restaurateurs like yourself, you might just save the entire industry from the government, because we don't see this happening in the big cities. We see it's happening in small towns, that there's this percolating sort of groundswell of people who are saying, we've just had enough of this lockdown.
Yeah, it's like in those big cities, it's hard to have that community sense. So not everybody knows everyone, and here in this town, they know us, they know our family, they know the struggles we're going through, and we know the struggles they're going through. Yeah. In a bigger town, it'd probably be a little harder to get that community sense.
Now, I know that the folks from the Whistle Stop are going to come here today. They actually reduced their menu to make it easy on the staff they're leaving behind, so that they could come up the road and show support.
Yeah, I was talking to Chris, and that's awesome. That's what we need. We need each other. It's scratching each other's backs, because at the end of the day, we're just a little pawn in this whole scheme, right?
Well, I don't think you're so little, and you have more support than you know, because you and I were talking yesterday. I gave you a call yesterday, and I offered our support here at Rebel News. You've chosen to reopen. I cannot advise you to do something that is technically illegal, but if you get a ticket and you do get in trouble, I want you to come right back to us, because we will make sure that you have all the legal support that you need to fight a summons, a ticket, whatever they might throw at you today or in the coming days. We'll make sure that you have the support from us to make sure that you can continue to do what you do, and that's take care of your 5 kids and feed this community some really great, authentic food.
Right on. Thank you. And it's so refreshing to see a news outlet going up and beyond, for us and for the truth, right? And nowadays, I don't even turn on the TV anymore. It's just, when you have the sense of, is that true? the credibility is gone. But I thank you guys at Rebel News that, what you guys are doing. You guys are helping us a lot. And with the help with fighting the tickets and the lawyers and everything, it gave me a little more of a push to go ahead and get the strength that I needed, yeah.
Well, I think you reopening today is going to maybe inspire some other restaurant owners to do the same. And it's not just us here at Rebel News. We couldn't do it without the support of our viewers at home who will crowdfund any of your legal costs so that you can just not worry about anything and it'll be taken care of at no cost to you.
Well, thank you so much. And like I said, he hits right in the feels about, like everyone supporting us and, knowing that we're not alone.
Well, Carlos, I'll get out of your way. I think you open in about half an hour here, and I think you're going to be overwhelmed by support. So you start doing what you do, and I'll do what I do.
Thank you, Sheila. Appreciate it. All right.
You're the first dine-in customers they've had in about 5 or 6 weeks. Why did you come down here today?
I just needed to get out. Definitely needed to get out of the house.
Happy to support them.
Do you think it's time for the lockdown to end?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Why'd you come to the restaurant today?
Oh, to support these small businesses. Yeah, it's good to see everybody out and supporting them.
Just to show support for anyone that's opening up in Alberta.
Do you think it's time for the lockdown to be over?
Absolutely, yes. Yes. We should be able to, it should be everybody's choice if you want to go out and eat lunch or what you want to do. We drove 2 hours just to come here and do it.
It's killing these little businesses. It's ridiculous. As you know, I owned a restaurant and pub for some time, and it's tough at the best of times. This is just ruining these people for no purpose. You can go into Walmart, but you can't come in to grab a bite from a perfectly safe, clean establishment like this. So, yeah, I'm going to get some good Mexican food for the first time since I was working in Texas, so I'm looking forward to it.
I don't believe in this lockdown, and I think people need to stand up and make their voices heard.
It should be everybody's choice if you want to go out and eat lunch or what you want to do. We drove 2 hours just to come here and do it.
Are you prepared to risk the possibility of a fine to enjoy Mexican food?
Yes, for sure. It'll be worth it. I mean, I think they have to start opening their eyes and realizing what they're doing to the small communities in Alberta.
I think the government should be fining these small restaurants when they're just trying to survive.
Oh, heavens no, they get enough from everybody. They don't need to find nobody else.
Well, would you look to hear it's the crew from the Whistle Stop. What brings you to the Noble Fox today?
Excellent Mexican food.
With a side of freedom?
Yeah. We came this afternoon so we could support Carlos and his decision to reopen against the health restrictions right now.
And you might be actually risking a fine while dining here at the same time as risking a fine while opening your own restaurant.
It's funny that you say that. My sister and I were saying, what if we go there and we're the ones that get the fines, right? Because the RCMP know that they're aware of what's going on here today. So Mel said, you know what? I hope we do so we can add them to the collection.
Oh, you have it coming.
Yeah, I guess so.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah. Karina. Hi. You're here to support Carlos?
Yes, I am. We want to just stand with courage and strength with him and say, let's do this together, and the Whistle Stop is behind you 100%.
So Carlos, are you aware that on December 13th, the Chief Medical Officer of Health restrict in-house dining for public restaurants?
I'm totally aware with it, not agree with it.
You're aware of that? So that's a copy of the order, and if you have people dining...
I have this printed already in there.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So we are here to advise you that under Section 73 of the Public Health Act, which you are violating, is an offense and can be subjected to fine. So we do advise you that you close the dining section.
Okay. That's a good advice. I'll consider it. Okay. But at the moment, I don't agree with Dr. Henshaw. I think she threw a blanket to all small businesses. So they're nonsensical restrictions to me. And I got my human rights, I got lawyers. So I think we're ready for that fight.
So Carlos, the cops were here, AHS was here. They told you that you're in violation of an order from the Chief Medical Officer of Health, but you didn't let them in. And you didn't let them disrupt your customers, and you didn't let them close you down.
Well, yeah, it's first he came that AHS officer came in and said that he had a complaint. True. Who knows? But the complaint was there's people here, and I got bay windows here that you can see there's people in here. All right, and he wanted to do an inspection, and then I go, they haven't been here for a year, and now they want to do an inspection. And I said, well, not at the moment. You can come on a different day, and I'll gladly open the doors for them. I didn't say you can't come in to do the inspection. I just said for the complaint, you can see through the windows.
Now, you seem to have a pretty friendly relationship with the police. Bashaw is not a big town. It's not a big detachment. But it is strange to see the RCMP being the private security force of Alberta Health Services.
Well, yeah, they are in a tough position. Like, you know, they probably don't want to do this, but, you know, their job kind of makes them come and, you know, make sure that everything's at peace. You know, AHS is using them, I believe, is using them to bully us. Again, he said that the RCMP was there to help him, and I clearly stated, no, the RCMP is here to keep the peace. And I didn't hear anything from the officer, so someone's got to be right.
Now, Carlos, are you going to open again tomorrow?
Yes, I am opening tomorrow. Like I said, it's my livelihood. My back is against the wall.
If they come back with a summons like they gave to Chris, if they come back with tickets for you or your staff, make sure you reach out to us, because when people say they support small business at Rebel News, we mean it. We are standing with you, and hopefully you inspire others to do the same.
Well, thank you, and I'd like to, you know, give a shout out to Rebel News. You guys have been awesome through all this, and make it easier for us to go ahead and do this, right? And I hope all their news channels follow suit. You know, we haven't seen it yet, but hopefully there's a few reporters that came here, and I stated everything that I need to say, and hopefully they don't twist my words. We'll see.
Carlos and his family chose Alberta as the place to live out their entrepreneurial dreams. However, now they are being crushed by the heavy hand of the government. They are saying, though, that enough is enough. They're standing up, they're reopening, no matter how many times AHS comes here. And you've seen the community is standing alongside Carlos, and so are we here at Rebel News, and you can help us from your home. Now, I'm off to my next assignment, but I told Carlos that if he or his staff or any of his customers receive lockdown fines, Rebel News will help fight those tickets in court in front of a real judge at no cost to them. You can donate to that fund at fightthefines.com. Some people say they support small businesses. At Rebel News, we mean it. And for you at home, get out there, patronize these brave entrepreneurs if you can. And if you can't, you know what? There's still one more way to help. You can help us send a message to Premier Jason Kenney that it is time to back off, call off the COVID cops and the AHS inspectors, and let these restaurants open again by signing our petition at savethecafe.com. Join us, friends, as we liberate some delicious enchiladas from the bland and flavorless clutches of big government. For Rebel News, in Bashaw, Alberta, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. Help us support the small businesses in Alberta rebelling against the lockdown by visiting savethecafe.com. Sign the petition and donate today.